Hi and welcome to the Quantum Gateway. I'm your host Architect, and today we are going to be watching a showdown between Zlo and Blackheart on Open Palms. Now I know Brinko Insanity did cast something very similar to this, but I guarantee you this is not the same game. That was a Seraphim versus Cybran matchup. This is cybran-cybran. So this is going to go down differently, I promise you that. Let's go ahead and get started and see how these guys are gonna get on. Alright, in the bottom corner, in the red corner I might say, we've got Blackheart. He is rated 2303 at the time of this game, and he is of course Cybran. And in the north we've got Zlo, also going Cybran, so I already mentioned that, but yes, cybran-cybran matchup. So we're going to see how these two guys are going to deal with the same faction strengths that the Cybran has. So let's just check out their initial build orders and go from there. Blackheart, we've got a land factory, no PGNs. He's building up the first 4 mixes, and I don't even see any reclaim there. So that is really interesting. He's heading straight out to the Hydro. He's going to get that as early as he can with one of his first engineers out of the factory. This guy here, he's probably going to go straight up and build that Hydro. So that's interesting. Zero PGNs, and we've actually got the same from Zlo this time. So Zlo's actually gone without PGNs. He is, however, going to grab a little bit of reclaim. We can see those trees there, and head out and then take the Hydro. So we've got an early hunter out. Let's just have a look at that little guy there making his way across the landscape. He is going to be just checking out, seeing if he can get any expansioneers and take those guys out. At this time though, there is nothing much from Blackheart that he's going to be able to take out. He's going to be concentrating all of that build power on that Hydro to get up and running. And the next thing off the factory floor, which is ironic, is an air factory. So he's going to go second air, and let's just check out Zlo's build orders. He actually hasn't got anything queued up yet, so he's got his Hydro and then just assisting that engineer. So let's see if he's going to quickly throw down a couple of factories. No, we're wasting a little bit of time here waiting. There we go, and here we got a land factory going down, and this engineer is going to head out and start reclaiming. And actually no reclaim initially, he's just going to be building those mixes, head out onto this expansion. That is quite some time. He's going to have to get 6 more mixes after the current one down before he can get that factory in place, and then a PD. So that's going to be quite an ask for one engineer to do without getting taken out. We can see that hunter in here. He's actually just trying to harass these guys a little bit. One hunter against the Mantis and a scout is not going to go particularly well, and he's actually going to stay in radar range because we've got another scout. So Blackheart is well aware that there's something sitting there, and he's going to probably guess by the speed of it that it is a hunter, and he's sending that Mantis in. We've got a lot of micro here. He's actually doing quite well, but he is taking a few hits. He's probably going to take a little bit. Yeah, there we go, he's gone. So he did manage to do quite well. Mantis is well under half health, so that was quite an impressive effort for a scout, but ultimately still dead. Let's just have a look at how well the expansion is going for these two guys. So Blackheart has got his core mixes, he's got the mixes by the Hydro, and not a heck of a lot else so far. So he's working on this next mix, and we can see with some reclaim orders, but he actually doesn't have any build orders out to any of the side expansions yet at all. If we go and look at Zlo, on the other hand, we've got the orders that we saw before to get out there and expand. That engineer is actually doing quite well. He's potentially, if there's depending on where this Mantis ends up going, he might actually get a little bit more built. So we'll see if Zlo can actually get some support out for him and stop him from dying and let him complete that build queue. Unfortunately, he has spotted that the scout just went overhead. The Mantis is on its way now to intercept. Now he is only this tricky little land factory build there in to block the fire of the Mantis, and so of course he loses the build queue that he's got, but it's actually going to buy him enough time. Blackheart has noticed he's come around the edge. It's buying enough time to get this other Mantis in, and he is Oh, unfortunately not going to be able to save the engineer. It was a very valiant effort, and he was almost able to block that. Of course, the Mantis does have a little bit of build capacity on it, so now that that factory has been started by the engineer, the Mantis can actually get in there and finish it. It is going to take quite some time, but he is able to stop that from degrading. Let's have a little bit of a look what's going on the other side. We've got a little bit of a push here from Zlo. 1 Mantis against 4 doesn't work too well, so that does die quickly. And we've got a little bit of raiding going up in the top corner here, so he's trying to get past with a Mantis just to try and take up some build power. And it looks like he's actually going to come through, because this Mantis here hasn't followed up. So that's a free Mantis to get through and take out that engineer. So he's moved the engineer to the other side of the mix to try and block some of the fire, but the Mantis has actually come back and taken the engineer out. So again, that engineer is lost, so another loss of expansioneers, and we're probably going to see this Mantis here. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to just go after that guy there, I'm guessing, and we're not going to see a build order completion like we're seeing over here. Let's just check the factory progress. It's up to half health now. There is actually an engineer on deck, so that is going to go up a little bit more quickly. In terms of expansions though, Blackheart is securing this expansion here with his ACU, so he is actually, well, they're neck and neck for economy. So Blackheart looks like he's got a little bit more. That expansion has just been taken, whereas comparatively Zlo's expansion is unbuilt over this side. But conversely, there is slightly more development on the side for Zlo. So neck and neck, Blackheart or just pulling ahead a smidgen. 33 now to 29 for Zlo. So that's pretty neck and neck economy. We're going to see Zlo coming in here with his ACU to try and make a bit of a nuisance of himself. He is going to be able to take out a couple of mixes easily. There is a PD queued up, but that's a long way off, so that's not going to happen. And that engineer is probably going to be killed before he gets a chance. We've got a sneaky little raid here. A couple of Mantis just getting back in here and taking that mix point out, and that's done. We do have another raid going on up north, and we've got 5 Mantis coming in. There is no PD up yet, so they're going to be able to do a pretty good job of taking out this engineer, then finishing off the expansion. There is a factory, and Mantis are not the fastest at taking out factories. If he had a Medusa in there with him, he would be able to take that out a lot more quickly. So he's going to be able to shut down much from happening over the side, but it's going to be a little bit of a push to take it. Having said that, in comes the ACU, and we're going to see that the ACU there is going to be able to take out that factory pretty easily and not be an issue. And there's going to be a little bit more pain for Zlo. Let's just check back on what's happening, and so we've got pretty much a mirror matchup going on here between the strategies. We've got the Zlo's commander pushing up his right, and Blackheart's commander pushing up his right. So we've got this, we've got a little fake PD and a real PD going up, so that's going to help secure this area, and I guess the strategy here is just to stop anything getting past to re-secure these expansions down here. So, well, there is an engineer, and he's looks like he's just running off to hide a little bit, and that'll be because in comes the ACU, and he's going to take out whatever's there, and he just probably wants to keep that engineer on deck to be able to come back and get a bit more built after that. There's a nice little radar going up, which is going to give some well-needed intel to Blackheart. Let's just have a quick look at their intel coverage. Blackheart has got a reasonable amount scouted. He doesn't have a heck of a lot of radar up. Got one radar there, one radar there, so he's got coverage on his side of the map without too much issue. Oh yes, he's got one up in the central plateau there, nice, and that's able to give him a little bit of coverage on Zlo's base, so we'll be able to see anything coming. He is power stalling though, so he does need to get a little bit more power online. He isn't at risk of overflowing mass with his current power income though, so he just needs to get a bit more power online. And conversely Zlo, let's check out his intel, and he's got, well, not a lot of radar by the looks of it, and we'll just have a look around here. One in the center, that's giving a reasonable amount of coverage there. You can see things coming across that central plateau. He can't see up into that top right expansion though, so that's a little bit of a problem. He does need to get a little bit more radar up. He does, however, have T2 on the field, so he's going to have a T2 HQ in here, and we've got one support factory up so far. So Zlo's made that shift to T2, and if we just go and look at Blackheart and see how he's getting on comparatively speaking, we've got one factory here that's, no, yes, we've got our HQ there. So we have an HQ that's got plenty of assistance, but no support factories as of yet. Jump back to Observer and we'll have a look at the overall map control. We can see a nice little group of Mantis coming back here. So those guys there are actually going to be able to do a little bit of damage because there is no, well, there is a PD up just now. And if those engineers can finish off those wall sections, that's actually going to be able to deny those Mantis pretty well. Alright, let's go back to the center here where it's looking a little bit dangerous. There's only Mantis in the middle. Granted, there is about a 10 or so Mantis, but 4 Rhinos is going to have no problem mopping that up, especially if it's split into 2 groups. You can see here hardly any damage done to the Rhinos at all, taking out one of those groups of Mantis. So Blackheart's going to pull back here and he's going to try and pull his Mantis. He's going to have to come up with something to be able to deny those Rhinos, because those Rhinos are going to be able to push through that whole group of Mantis quite easily. We've got a couple of groups of Mantis here. Let's just have a quick check of the total number of Mantis on the field for Blackheart. And he has got 39, and that's dwindling now because they're engaging those Rhinos. And he doesn't have much in the way of T2 yet. And conversely, Zlo has got 48. So actually neck and neck in terms of T1 tanks, even though they have legs, we call them tanks anyway. And we've got a attack missile defense going up to defend that power plant that he's just built. Zlo does look like he's in pretty well in air control though. He has got a half a dozen interceptors floating around there, not much in the way of anti-air coverage, and practically 0 interceptors. Yeah, I'm not seeing any interceptors left for Blackheart at all. In fact, his air factory there is paused, so that's not going to do him a whole lot of good if he's going to try and stop any air. There aren't any gunships as of yet. Let's just check if there's any gunship production in the works. And no, doesn't look like it. We're just sticking on T1 and probably just interceptor production just to maintain that air control. So we do have Zlo pushing in with his ACU. He's heading in here. He's now going to, his forces are going to run into a little bit of Cerberus fire, so Blackheart's putting up a little bit of defense to try and stop this incursion. Blackheart's able to push quite deeply into Zlo, sorry, is able to push quite deeply into Blackheart's territory, and he's actually making a little bit of a dent. We have a shield up, and that's going to give quite a bit of protection against the T1 army, but there's probably enough now. There's 3-4 Rhinos in the mix. So now there's enough Rhinos on Blackheart's side to be able to deny the push here. And that's actually going to leave a nice little reclaim field, so we'll probably see a little bit of reclaim picked up by Zlo's ACU, although he is wandering into Cerberus range. So he's actually taking fire from a couple of Cerberus turrets now. He's going to have to be careful because there is a number of T1 and, what have we got? At least 3 Rhinos, 4-5 Rhinos still in the vicinity. So those are actually able to do quite a bit of damage to his ACU, so they're going to push Zlo back quite decisively now. He's getting tangled up in his own units a little bit, so he needs to be a little bit more careful with that. He looks like he is just going to get back out of range of the Cerberus turrets and probably bringing in just enough in terms of support to be able to slow down these Rhinos, though there are a good 8 Rhinos in that pack now, so interesting to see what he does with those. So we've got 8 Rhinos. They can pretty much push through any of these areas. We can push through the center if he takes all those one at a time. He can take those out. He's still got his expansion up here, but he has lost most of his units, so he's running a little bit short. He has got a T2 support factory up, so Rhinos up here are going to be really, really handy in terms of defending this and stopping Mantis from taking it out. So that one Rhino is going to be able to mop up those Mantis that are attacking. And we've got the ACU defending here, so I'm not sure if he's got overcharge. Let's just have a quick check, and no overcharge, but 1 ACU against half a dozen T1 units is not going to be too much of a challenge, and he's going to take those out. He did lose the mixers though, so that does hurt his economy a little bit. And if we just have a quick look at the ecos, Blackheart looks to be, well, I think there's a bit of reclaimment there, but I think it's probably about 120 Yeah, I think that's probably stable against, oh no, there we go, it is reclaimed, so 83 against 67 looks to be the right sort of figures. We can see that Zlo actually has, well, it's about 50-50 map control, so split right down the centre, so they've got the expansions beside each other's base to the player's left, and they're fighting over those, but the map control is just about split vertically, so that's nice and tidy. We do have a little bit of an attack going down here though. We've got a Rhino, it does wander into T1 PD range though, so that's going to get taken out, and the engineers are actually going to run in there and do a bit of a reclaim. So charging in there, doesn't have a lot of combat units, but he charged those engineers in and actually managed to get some reclaim happening and had a minor victory. You can see we've lost a few mech spots all around the back here as Lowe's just sending raiding units around. That's something that Blackheart hasn't done a lot of. We've not seen a huge amount. There's, I suppose that mix there has been taken out, but we haven't seen units get right around the back and out the other side like we're seeing with Zlo hitting the back of Blackheart's base. In terms of economy though, Blackheart's got quite a substantial power income lead over Zlo, so he's got a couple of shields up, he's managing to power those no problems, and he's got a couple of T2 PGNs. So those T2 PGNs coupled with all the T1 spam is providing him 1.7k, which is more than double what Zlo has. So we're seeing a little bit more of an eco build. He does have a T2 mass extractor, we can see nestled in the middle there, and that's the only T2 so far that I can see for Blackheart. And if we go and have a look at Zlo, I don't think anything is upgraded to T2 yet. We've got one in the back, there it is. So we've got one there with a little bit of power generators, well, a couple of power generators around it, and that's just to reduce the power drain while doing the upgrade, because the adjacency bonus reduces the energy that the mix requires to upgrade. Let's have a quick look. So we've got a little bit of a clearance of the middle plateau from, of Zlo's forces by Blackheart. So he's managed to take that fairly well, and there's probably left a little bit of reclaim. There's a couple of engineers floating around, so Blackheart should be able to take advantage of that. He is losing these mixes up here to Medusa fire from below the plateau, however, so that's no good, and he's probably going to lose the engineer as well if he doesn't move. They have taken one of the side expansions each, so we've got Zlo down here, we've got a lot of expansion here, they're not expansioneers, we've got a lot of engineers doing reclaim, and they're using an attack move straight out of the factory, so of course they have the massive range, which is a little bit of a bug, but it's actually quite nice, and I think it would be a shame if they took that away. So that's what Zlo is doing on that side, and over here we've got pretty much an identical thing from Blackheart. He's got a whole stack of engineers, and they are, well, they're just on regular reclaim orders as far as I can see, so not taking advantage of the extra range because of course there's no factory up here, so he's going to have to shift the engineers up there. Alright, we've got quite a large push here from Zlo. He's coming in, and Blackheart's forces are actually in formation end on, which is a bit of a disadvantage because it means the entire force of Zlo's army is able to take out just 3 of Blackheart's units at a time. So you can chew through a large number of units without taking a huge amount of losses by doing that, and so you've got to be careful with the formations. So in that case, Blackheart just dropped the formation down, and they were actually facing the wrong way, and they caused a little bit more loss than he probably should have taken there. Zlo is managing to make a little bit of headway, and it doesn't look like there's a huge amount to stop it. He's managed to take out quite a few of the Rhinos that Blackheart had built up here, and there's a few PDs around, so we'll just look at the range of that. So that's the range that we're looking at for PD for the Cerberus turrets. So Zlo's forces just starting to encroach on that PD range now, and we've got nice little build up here, so we'll have to see what's going to happen with that. He could be going to skirt up and around the inside, so he's drawing the Blackheart's army away, so he's pulling back and trying to head north, and we'll see if he's trying to slip this little army in. No, I was thinking he might be going to slip this little army into the back of the base, but in fact he's just going to join up with the main force here just to bolster that a little bit and try not to lose the entire position. He's bringing in the Vipers, bringing in Vipers to be able to try and take out those T2 PDs. because of course the answer to T2 point defense is T2 mobile missile launchers. We can see over here the Viper's sitting out of range and down here and just plinking away firing missiles, and he's going to be able to take out that Cerberus turret without it being able to return fire at all. So unless Blackheart gets in there, and well, we've got some flak, but flak of course is not going to do any damage to mobile missile launchers. So if Blackheart doesn't get some units out there and take those Vipers out, he is just going to lose this entire base slowly to that mobile missile launcher fire. Got another engagement here. We can see that Blackheart's actually switched to T3, so he's got a loyalist out, and he's trying to fight this army. So I think he had a couple of loyalists there, and he's just going to try and push that army away. So we've still got a slightly superior force, I think, and we've actually got a deceiver mixed in there. So if we just jump over to Blackheart, he's having a little bit of a tough time with his intel because they're deceiver. So at this point in the game, they've only got a couple of K income each, and they don't have Omnis. So with no Aeon player to get the intel upgrade on the ACU, he's actually having a really rough time, and until they come into vision range, he can't see a large amount of Zlow's army. He's firing some interceptors over the top just to get some vision on those guys. So now that he's got vision, he's going to be able to attack them not too badly. He's got a brick. There's his first brick. So brick's coming out, and that's going to be able to do a lot of damage. Without the brick, these two armies were roughly even, and we're going to be roughly drawing that engagement, but the brick into the equation is actually going to make quite a difference there, and that's actually going to be able to push Zlo back. So what have we got in terms of expansions? We've still got this expansion, and all of these mechs is held for Blackheart. He is currently sitting on, well, it says 118 there. Let's see if that's stable. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably stable. So he's probably sitting on about 118 to Zlo's 80 odd mass income. So Blackheart does have an advantage. Of course, he's got all four mechs in the back here up to T2 and upgrading, and in fact there is a T3 upgrade going on, and we can see just there in the chat Blackheart's asking if he's got a monkey done. So he's fully expecting Zlo to start work on a monkey lord, and let's just have a bit of a look around and see if we can't spot something like a monkey blueprint going down. Well, there's nothing there yet, but he might have just made a critical mistake in giving Zlo the idea of building a monkey lord. Let's just have a look. There's the AC up there, and he's just basically building a big pile of point defense just to try and keep Blackheart from pushing out and destroying everything. We've got a brick and a couple of bricks. We've got a stream of bricks coming out here, and those are going to be able to take out everything in this expansion quite well. Bricks, of course, do outrange T1 PDs, so they are able to just sit there and plink away until the PD is gone. And even if they want to wander into range, you can see this guy just walked right past and was able to take those PD out without too much of an issue at all. So bricks showing that they are quite chunky. What have we got here? That looks like T2 artillery. There we go, Gunther. And a second one, so he's starting to lay down some T2 artillery, just trying to break this forward position. So I guess Zlo is thinking if he can break these shields and break the PD, then he might have a chance to push in. The problem with that is that we've now got bricks on the field, and let's go and see if there's a T3 factory. Yes, we've got T3 online for Zlo. He doesn't seem to be pushing anything out of it yet, so I think it's probably just come online. And let's just see what he's building, and he's just starting off with some engineers. So whether we're going to see some T3 construction going on or going straight for T4s, well, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. And let's just get an update on this engagement here. So a bit of a sticky spot for Zlo's ACU, because he's now got quite a few bricks actually, and those bricks are going to be able to just move back, and well, I suppose there's quite a few rhinos there, but the superior range on the bricks means that they are going to be able to just kite those. So we can see that the bricks are able to fire on those rhinos without the rhinos returning fire at all. They are taking a bit from the Cerberus turrets, so by keeping them in close to the Cerberus turrets, it's doing a little bit of damage, but we all know that Cerberus turrets are not the best, and we've got 3 of them focusing on this one brick, and they're not really killing it that quickly, so still a little bit dangerous. He is able to stave off the few bricks that Blackheart is throwing against that position at the moment, but that's probably not a tenable position long term. In terms of expansion, well, Blackheart is pushed up quite a bit. There's not a lot of fighting going on, but we've got a Rhino sitting there, we've got a radar, and we've got these engineers reclaiming, so I'm not quite sure why they haven't taken that radar yet, and it looks like there's still a little bit of mass available amongst those trees as well, so there's a little bit of mass that you could be taking advantage of. In terms of income, well, it's bouncing around a little bit with the reclaim, but it looks like Blackheart's probably sitting around 140 and Zlo on 72. So Zlo is definitely lagging behind, so he's going to need something to really push in there. Now let's just pop up here, and there's the Monkey Lord. So I think Blackheart probably did just give him that idea in chat of building that Monkey Lord. So we saw that T3 engineer being built, and now they've started throwing down a Monkey Lord. And we can see we are now sacrificing everything. So these engineers are going to come up and reclaim those factories. And he's going to just grab as much mass as he can. Is he grabbing any mass on the front line? He should probably try to get a couple of engineers out from that factory on attack move, so that they would reclaim. But he's really starting to lose some ground there. So if we jump over to Blackheart, how many bricks has Blackheart got? He's currently sitting on 11, and Zlo really doesn't have anything to answer that. He's just trying to get this Monkey Lord up, so that Monkey Lord's just coming up on 50% now. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly he can get that online. He is actually going to lose a little bit more eco here with these 3 Rhinos. They are unchallenged. There is a Tech 1 point defense down there, so that is going to be a little bit of a problem for the Rhinos, because the Rhinos are so low to the ground that their main cannon actually can't really make it over the walls very well. So they're going to try and hit that point defense, but they're just going to hit the walls instead. So the Rhinos are not going to have a good job. So actually they're just going to run off, and this guy here is going to get taken out, but the other 2 should get out of range. Now we've got quite a dangerous pack of bricks, quite a cluster. Now they are going to be a big problem if Zlo can't get this Monkey Lord online in time. So he's throwing absolutely everything he has. If we look at these factories, we're probably going to see everything else is not running. So he's paused all other production. He's sacrificing everything to get this monkey online. So this is a, well, all or nothing bet basically from Zlo. He's not going to get that mix online. The Rhinos are taking that out. So we've actually got quite a big push, and up the north we've got a couple of tack launchers. We've got a whole bunch of engineers assisting those. They're under stealth as well, so they're not going to show up on Zlo's radar. So unless he's actually got scout overhead, and there's not a lot of scouts going out from Zlo's base, he's not going to be able to know that those are there. So those are a little bit dangerous. The question is, does Blackheart know that that Monkey Lord is on the way? He doesn't have any intel on it currently, so unless he's flew a scout overhead, there's actually a number of scouts floating around here. So if any of those are gone overhead, then he would know that that's there. I'm guessing he doesn't, because those tack launchers are coming straight across for eco, and they would probably be better taking out their Monkey Lord before it gets completed if he knew it was there. There goes the scouts. He's now going to see that there is a Monkey Lord and it's just been completed, so it's a little bit late to react to it, but we've got a stack of bricks online. Let's just see how many bricks we've got. There's 18 in total. So up on in the front we've got 13, so he's going to have about 15 bricks available, and Zlo's going to have this Monkey Lord. Now let's see what he does with it, because 15 bricks is actually enough to take out a Monkey Lord. So what I'm going to actually do is grab this little overlay here, and we're just going to look at that and see the 15 bricks against a Monkey Lord. So we've actually got a slight HP advantage to the bricks. We've got a definite, slightly more mass to build the bricks. The energy is quite a lot less to build the bricks, but the HP is significantly higher. Now that 45k HP is just the base HP of the Monkey Lord without any veterancy, and it's going to vet up reasonably quickly once it starts hitting some bases and packs of units. But you do have to watch out. The bricks are clearly ahead in the HP game, and they're actually quite a margin ahead in the DPS as well. So if you get 15 bricks and they're all within firing range at once, so that's the trick. Now you can see here most of these bricks are actually able to bring their guns to bear at once, because the bricks do slightly outrange the Monkey Lord, and the Monkey Lord has taken a heck of a beating and it hasn't actually done a huge amount of damage. So we can see there that that amount of bricks is quite able to take care of a Monkey Lord. And so Zlo's actually going to have to retreat with that. We've got these scouts all flying overhead because of course the Monkey Lord does have stealth, and Blackheart does need to keep a track of that, otherwise that Monkey Lord is going to just pop up somewhere and it's going to be a little bit of a problem. And let's go and have a look at what Blackheart is doing. We've got quite a lot of T3 mass extractors in the back. He's actually up to 280 income, and Zlo's down to a very poor 35 income, so he's under a little bit of pressure economy wise. Blackheart has all of the cards in this, and he's got this stack of bricks chasing that Monkey Lord, so he does have enough air overhead, but they're only interceptors, and the Monkey Lord does have a little bit of AA on board, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful about not losing all those interceptors, because the stealth is going to be a little bit of a problem because Blackheart does not have Omni there. Now we've got, how many bricks are in that pack? We've got 15, so yep, that's exactly 15, so that many bricks is easily going to be able to dispatch the Monkey Lord, especially given that it is down to 10k health. That is well into the red, so that is a very, very sad looking Monkey Lord indeed, and he's probably not going to survive much longer if those bricks can get in range. The bricks are just lagging behind a little bit, and actually they stopped for a moment, so the Monkey Lord is going to hopefully make an escape. Well, Zlo's going to be hoping it makes an escape and get away. We've got an awful lot of build capacity up here doing bricks, so that's how Blackheart is pumping up those bricks so fast. He's probably putting a serious amount of that 280 income that he's got into bricks, but he needs a way to take out Zlo's ACU. Now Zlo is actually parked up here. He doesn't have stealth by the looks of it, certainly doesn't have cloak, so it's not going to be too difficult for Blackheart to scout that ACU. Zlo just trying to get a little bit more power online. He's only got just under 1,000 power now compared to almost 10k for Blackheart, so quite a serious power difference, and those bricks are actually just going to wander through that base and there's absolutely nothing to stop them. So there's just about nothing left for Zlo other than his ACU and a 12k health Monkey Lord. Now if we go and have a look at Blackheart, what's he doing? He's still got all of his build power focused on those factories just to get those out and up, and he's got a little bit of an army, so he's just sending bricks all around just to secure the rest of the map. Zlo does have a little bit of base still spread around, so we've got a little bit of mass income that's contributing to the 21 that he's currently got. So these here will probably be the majority of his mass income, especially given that those bricks have completely cleared out that base of Zlo's. So we've transported the ACU up here. There's nothing but engineers to stop him, and it looks like Blackheart's not paying attention to those engineers. They're not going to react at all, so he's just going to sit there and he's going to get some free veterancy. He's building energy storage, and what's he going to do with the rest of it? He's just going to plink away at those engineers, taking them out. Looks like Blackheart probably has not noticed what's going on, although this is a bug, so Soul Ripper, and that's nearly half done, so that's going out really quickly. So Blackheart's producing, well, dedicating a lot of his economy to getting that bug up quickly. Now this Monkey Lord though, with that stealth, he's managed to evade all of the bricks. So we've got a stack of bricks here on the left, we've got a few bricks there in the base, and this Monkey Lord up the centre, and he's now regened up to 21k. So he's now just sneakily trying to get through. There is a scout going directly overhead, so that will have been scouted. Let's have a look back at the Soul Ripper though, and that is, well, really, really quickly going up, so that's going to be done in just a second. So we'll be interested to see what Blackheart does with that Soul Ripper. He does still have vision on the ACU there, so that Mex has enough vision radius to be able to see that, and a PD has just gone down, and that's going to help Zlo just try and secure that plateau. And well, you can see Blackheart commenting there, very sneaky of his low to get his ACU up there. And what are we doing with the Soul Ripper? There's the Soul Ripper there. So we've got Soul Ripper heading directly for Zlow's ACU, and there's probably not a heck of a lot Zlow can do about it. And there we go, it's starting to fire. No, it's not firing. It's going to actually land. It looks like Blackheart has completely forgotten about it, and that's probably because this Monkey Lord is now snuck right up and is hitting his base. Now, you've got to watch out here because there's a ton of T1 engineers, and those guys are going to produce a lot of veterancy. So we're going to probably see a quick... Alright, there we go, jumped up to 23,000 health, and so that Monkey Lord's got a heck of a lot of HP, and all of those engineers are just feeding it, and that's going to just keep jumping up. Now, he's now managed to remember that he's got a Soul Ripper that he needs to be able to get into play, and he's taking that out. So now it's a little bit of a race, and he's tried to get that out. So very, very close, because you can see the ACU for Blackheart is here, and there's a 29k health Monkey Lord coming down and just about in laser range. So if Blackheart hadn't had that Soul Ripper up, or if he'd forgotten about it for probably another 20 seconds, then that Monkey Lord would have been able to punch right through the base and take out that ACU before, which would have been quite a comeback, given that Zlow was sitting on 5 mass per tick compared to Blackheart's 300. So well outplayed on the economy game, but that sneaky Monkey Lord punching right up the centre, getting a whole lot of veterancy off all of the engineers floating around here, and almost getting through to that ACU. Very close, but no cigar, and Blackheart wins. Alright, that ends the first cast for the Quantum Gateway series, and if you like what you see and you want to get into it, it's Forged Alliance Forever. It is a community-driven lobby for the game Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, which is separate from Supreme Commander 2. You can pick it up on Steam in the sales for a couple of bucks. It is well worth it. It is a great competitive strategy game, and well, I'm going to have to come up with a nice exit phrase for this, but seeing as this is the first one, I haven't come up with that yet. So if you are watching this, thank you very much for watching, and leave any feedback in the comments below. I'll take that on board. We're going to try and create a nice entertainment Forged Alliance channel here, definitely geared towards the entertainment end of the spectrum rather than the technical. If you're interested in technical aspects of the game, then there are channels around from Zoc and Speed 2 and guys like that, and they really know their stuff in terms of the technical gameplay. You should go and listen to those guys and do what they say. Don't do what I say, because I'm not a fantastic player. I'm just here to try and make this fun. Thank you very much again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next cast.